name is Umar, and today's grammar lesson is brought to you by Angielski-businesssoviet.com. Today we're going to talk about adverbs of frequency and adverbial phrases. So first of all, let's start with adverbs of frequency. Today I will be teaching you what are adverbs of frequency, when to use them, how to use them. So for this I will be using this time scale. So let's get to the board and start with this. So adverbs of frequency are words which will give you information when do you do something and how often do you do something. So let's take a look at some of the words. Let's start with 0%. So something that you never do. That's the word. So never would start from the very left hand side of the scale, which is 0%. Something that you never do. So starting with never, what would be the opposite end of the scale? So if something that you never do, and the opposite 100% is something that you always do. You could say, I never eat lunch after 10 p.m. Or you could say, I always have lunch after 10 p.m. Now what comes next at 5%? So at 5% you could say hardly ever. I hardly ever do something, or you could say I rarely do something. I rarely find time to see my friends during the weekdays, or I hardly ever find the time to see my friends. Moving on to 10%, 10% of the time, so you could say or use the word seldom. I seldom go out for a walk while I'm at work. So 10% of the time. What comes next on the scale is the word 30%. At 30% you can use the word occasionally. You occasionally do something, which gives you the probability of around 30%. Now, what's right there in the middle of the time scale is you could use the word sometimes. Depending on your mood, depending on the situation, sometimes you do something, sometimes on the other hand, sometimes you don't. Now, 70%. So for 70% you could use two words. Words such as often. I often call my friends when I have some time. Or I frequently call my friends when I have some free time. 80% of the time you could use the words such as normally. I normally do something, or I generally do something. I normally and I generally. What comes next at 90%, you could say usually. I usually do my groceries at the weekend, 90% of the time. 95% of the time, which is almost towards the end of the time scale, just before always, which is almost always. I almost always take my vitamins. I almost always remember to wish my friends happy birthday or Merry Christmas. Almost always. 95% of the time. So yes, these are the words, what we call adverbs of frequency. Now let's take a look, how do we use them? So in order to use them properly, you have to remember just two rules. So let's begin with rule number one. To demonstrate this, I will need to write one simple sentence. So let's start with, let's say, I always eat lunch. So in this sentence, as you can see here, we have adverb of frequency, and here we have the main verb of the sentence. So the rule to remember is the adverb of frequency will always come before the main verb in the sentence. So you could say, I always eat lunch, I never eat lunch, I normally eat lunch, I often eat lunch, I seldom eat lunch, I never eat lunch. So that's rule number 1. Moving on to rule number 2 quickly. Rule number 2, in this, I will write another example for you. So, let's see. Okay, I am always late. So here we have the adverb of frequency, and here we have the be verb in the sentence. So be verb are words like I am, he is, she is, they are. So these are called the be verb in a sentence. Now the rule to remember here, just unlike and opposite to this, the adverb of frequency will come after the be verb. So you can say, I'm always late for work, I'm never late for work, I'm occasionally late for work, I'm seldom late for work, or I'm rarely late for work. So this is how you could use the adverbs of frequency in a sentence. Now let me find the eraser really quickly. It's right here. I need to make some more space. Okay. Now let's move on to the second section of this video, in which we are going to discuss and talk about the adverbial phrases. Adverbial phrases. Now what are adverbial phrases? How are they different from adverbs of frequency? They're pretty much the same. However, the only difference is adverbial phrases are usually longer than one or two words. So let me write some examples here. Let's start with every day. You could say every day, most days, most of the time, most days, most of the time, in a minute, after the game, and so on. So as you can see, these phrases, they have usually a longer structure, so it's a combination of more than two words, two or more than two words. Now how do we use these in a sentence? So the rule to remember with adverbial phrases is that they would come either at the beginning of the sentence or they would come at the end of the sentence. Let me show you an example. So we can use this one, after the game. So we could say, after the game, let's go and eat. So after the game, let's go and eat. Or you could say, let's go and eat after the game. So once again, adverbial phrases, it would either come at the beginning of the sentence, after the game, let's go and eat, or at the end of the sentence, which is let's go and eat after the game. Using it before or after the sentence, it wouldn't really change the meaning of the sentence itself. So it doesn't matter. Yeah, so that would be the end of this video. In this video we have covered the adverbs of frequency, words like this, and the adverbial phrases, and I've taught you how to use them properly. So after watching this video, if you're interested in practicing more, so the worksheet of this lesson will be attached in the description of the video. Please go ahead, click on the link in the description, and you will be able to download and practice more. If you like this video, please do not forget to share this with your friends and family. Subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, you can write it in the comments below, comment section. If you would like to have personal one-on-one lessons with me, you can contact me. on the website, which is angielski-businesssoftware.com. So that would be the end of our today's lesson. I hope you enjoyed and learned something new. Thank you for watching this video and have a great day. Goodbye.